Why should you use the WAVES Oceanway Nashville plugin? And how will this monitoring tool benefit you and your mixes? Watch this video until the end and I will show you why and how it works. All audio for this video is mixed with the WAVES NX Oceanway Nashville plugin on the master bus. And I strongly suggest you watch the rest of this video while listening on headphones. The NX Oceanway Nashville plugin is a headphone monitoring tool. It emulates an acoustic space on your headphones as if you were listening to a pair of speakers. So without the plugin, the music sounds like this. And with NX Oceanway, it sounds like this. Why is this of any value? Well, mixing on headphones has of course many advantages, like zooming in and pinpointing on details in your audio. But it lacks the 3D dispersion of sound, which makes that mixing on speakers in a properly treated acoustic space let your mixes translate much better on all sorts of audio devices than when you mix on most headphones. Things like crossbleed, which is how much of the audio coming from one speaker you will hear in the opposite ear, and the behavior of the sound due to the acoustics of the room you're mixing in, have a huge impact on the mix decisions you make. Dry rooms can cause that you will add more reverb in your mix, and the opposite is also true, so reverby rooms can cause that you add less reverb in your mix. Headphones do not have any reverb, so it can happen that you add too much reverb when you mix on headphones. Now, to model an acoustic space, simply adding a reverb won't do it. The NX Oceanway Nashville plugin models the speakers and room response you find in the Oceanway Nashville studio control room, which is quoted to have a very precise acoustic space. To make the modeling more accurate, you can set the dimensions of your own head and the distance from ear to ear of the back of your head in inches and centimeters. I found this really helps dialing the realism. Now, since everyone listening to this video has different head dimensions, I will sweep through the sizes so you hear how this affects the impression you get. There was probably a spot where it sounded optimal for you, so you need to check the settings which work best for you. I'll reset to default settings for the sake of this video. If you like what you have seen so far, make sure to subscribe to this channel. We're all about giving you mix and mastering tips and showing you new gear and how to use it. Okay, there are more settings you can change to tweak the modeling. Over here you can enable an headphone EQ to compensate for the EQ response of a bunch of headphone models. If your model is not included, it isn't a problem. The plugin works perfectly without it. And you can dial in the amount of ambience you want, virtually making the room a bit larger or smaller or changing distance from you to the speakers. The plugin allows to switch between two sets of model speakers. The huge HR1 speakers and the smaller HR5 speakers. These have a very different sound, as you can hear. With Rotate Studio you can virtually turn around in the studio and you can hear why the plugin does way more than simply adding a colored reverb. You will hear the changes in phase, sound and directness when you turn around like this. It will be even more clear when I speed up the rotation. You can reset to the sweet spot easily by pressing the 0 degree knob. I did some A/B testing between the NX Oceanway and my Olo headphones. I found that the HD600 EQ curve and dialing the ambience back to around 85% and using the HR5 model came closest to what I hear from my speakers in my room. This means when I use this setup, I can recreate a familiar sounding setup when using headphones. Or use this as a familiar reference on headphones when I mix in a different room on speakers. To bring the realism of the tracking to the next level, the NX series and also this plugin offer the feature of head tracking. When I enable it, you can see the head moving around in 3 dimensions. This is triggered by the NX Head Tracker plugin, which comes for free with NX Oceanway Nashville. The plugin requires either a Bluetooth device or a webcam to trigger your own head movement. I'll use a simple Logitech C920 webcam and the head tracking works excellent. You can see when I move my head in all directions, the sound changes. Moving my head up and down also impacts what you hear. Now, this will of course be a different experience for you, because at this moment you're not moving your head like I do. I was at first a bit skeptical on how this would work out, but the head tracker really adds a lot to the realism you experience. I have never been to the Nashville Oceanway studios, so I cannot comment on how realistic this model sounds in comparison to that room. I can say though that this acoustic space modeling works really well in making the mix experience a lot like you're working on good speakers. So the results I got were a lot like I would on normal speakers, with a few things I would have done slightly different, like I would when I would mix in a different room with different speakers than I normally use. This means that even when you have a good set of speakers and good acoustics, the NX Oceanway Nashville can be used as an alternative set of speakers to reference your mix on. And take in account that Waves also has the Abbey Road Studio 3 modeling, you can have another set of speakers for little money. The link to the Waves NX Oceanway Nashville plugin can be found in the description below. Now, if you want to learn how to do immersive 3D effects, watch the video displayed on screen right now. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and share this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!